Dog Nation, Jackson, Jennings, greetings, and welcome to your Daily Dose Donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, bringing you some Steelers talk after a utter disappointment in Philadelphia. Still haven't won there since the 60s. Genji, Lasker's both here. Guys, I really struggle for something positive to say after that game other than, hey, we might have a plus unit for the first time in like 3 years, and that plus unit is our special teams. What did you guys see out there in Philly last week, excuse me?
Mutant Gingy in the house, and that was a rough one. Feeling very short-handed on offense without George Pickens. Defense having no answers for Jalen Hurts, and that Eagles look like a wagon. Rough week, but no room to pout in this season. We got to get ready for the next one.
Yeah, especially with the division really on the line here, Laskers. It's a good chance still. I told Gingy last week, 2 of 3 need to be won for me to believe in this team. I still stick by that because we'd have to beat Baltimore at Baltimore and then beat Kansas City. Although if it's without Mahomes, maybe we change. But Laskers, that game against Philly, man, this team certainly looked a lot more bottom dweller than contender in that game, I'd say.
No, I would say that for certain. I mean, at least the special team showed up. I mean, at least they're looking pretty good. Now, the one thing I will say with your Mahomes comment is it looks like he's going to play this weekend, so chances are he's going to play Christmas Day.
Yeah, but
something happens.
Is he going to play like how Justin Herbert played against us? Because I'll take that, dude. A lame duck that can't move against a good pass rush like we have should be easy going, but that's way in the future. This Philly team, I guess the Steelers' whole idea was, hey, we'll give up 10 yards of pass as long as Saquon doesn't go over 4 yards of carry, Gingy. And let's be honest, the only reason Saquon didn't break 100 yards, Gingy, I know he wasn't efficient. I think he was only 3.6 yards of carry. But the only reason he was that bad was he missed the whole second quarter because of a dirty knee shot by Minkah Fitzpatrick, which is becoming in my opinion, all too commonplace thing, because when you get known for start doing that, teams are going to retaliate, and I don't want to see the retaliation done to the Steelers.
3.4.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely don't want any of that. It always does seem like Minkah's on the other end of that, doesn't it?
Diving at kneecaps is something he's known at. I mean, hell, there are fans that called him out on Twitter. There's players that are calling him out on Twitter. You don't get that reputation without earning it. And I'm going to say, for a safety that's paid to take the ball away, the last thing I need him as a reputation for is a dirty player, because he ain't producing. He ain't worth the heartache. Like, we got rid of Deontay Johnson because he was more of a headache than he's worth. If Minkah gets that rep and we start seeing people do the same thing to the Steelers, I don't know, man, but I don't even know what to say on this game, Gingy. Do you want to start talking about the offense or the defense?
Offense. Probably the biggest downgrade that we've seen in terms of the progression that we've seen the offense grow throughout the season. Probably the biggest backslide we've seen in a while. Formidable competition, defensive line just really crushing the offensive line for the Steelers, the Eagles. Kudos, shout out to them. But without Pickens, they really seem quite helpless to me.
We reap our own problems here. Offense that can't start the games quick. Wow, that's a big surprise. Unimaginative play calling by Arthur Smith. That's a big surprise. I mean, if you listen to the game, Tom Brady's like, I don't understand why the Steelers aren't using crossing routes here. That's how you take advantage of a defense like this, but it just seems like they're not going to do it. And then the next drive, we did it to Skowronek for a 15-yard first down, and then I don't think we ran a crosser route the whole rest of the game, Laskers. This offense is unimaginative again. Yes, Arthur Smith is at least NFL competent in play calling, but Laskers, it's just not good enough right now.
It's definitely not good enough. I mean, we rushed for 17 times. And
we
our
only
best
had 40.
rusher...
To be fair, that was like half the damn plays we had.
I understand that, but our best rusher was Justin Fields with 1 rush for 8 yards.
Yep.
Where were you at, Najee? 2.3 yards? What the hell?
Oh, he wants to get paid like Saquon, dude. Didn't you hear him? But let's keep moving here.
Yeah,
Gingy, I owe George Pickens a huge apology because apparently he's a lot better than I thought because these other dudes are garbage. And Mike Tomlin said multiple times this year he's very happy with the receiver group he has. I don't know who the hell he's talking about there because there is not a single one of these dudes who is a average number 2 receiver. I will say Calvin Austin stepped up a little bit, 65 yards. He had a play where he should have had a touchdown, light underthrow by Russ, just leads to a big gain instead. We have that going on in the wide receiver thing. Pat Fireman finally a contested touchdown catch. That was good to see. But, Gingy, this offense, man, 2 turnovers in plus territory, and
exactly what I was going to say.
It's a freaking field goal, dude.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Are you kidding me?
That's the insult to the injury on the slow start, right? Is that we talk about opportunities for these teams. We talk about the opportunistic teams like Kansas City, right? Sometimes they don't win pretty. Sometimes they don't score a ton of points, but they win. And that's because they take advantage of opportunities like that. When we are not playing that game with the same mentality. If we turn that even into 10 points, which, instead of just 3, those two big splash plays. We want a splash play by the defense, a splash play by the special teams, and we walk away with dumb penalties, backing us up, throwing us out of rhythm, this, that, and the third.
An undisciplined, highly penalized Mike Tomlin team. Call me shocked, Gingy. Call me shocked. Laskers. I understand, and I'm not saying this like Arthur Smith is worse than Matt Canada, but Arthur Smith does have a category where he is worse than Matt Canada, and that's opening drives. How the hell, when you have a weak to script a drive, can you not score a damn touchdown or at least kick field goals, which is what happens every week to the Steelers? We're now past Matt Canada level of ineptitude for starting drives without a touchdown. How the hell does this happen week in, week out, Lasker?
I don't know. And didn't our starting drive start with a interception?
Not this week. That was last week or 2 weeks ago against the Bengals where we threw a pick 6 on our first drive.
No. I mean, where we picked them off.
Since Hurts didn't throw an interception, I don't think so. But it might have. Might have been the drive after the fumble that TJ Watt chasing down the play from the backside.
I think it was a fumble, but I just can't explain it. It's terrible. I mean, we caused 2 freaking things back to back, and we get 3 points. That I'm with Gingy. That's unacceptable.
It certainly is. And also, the Steelers have wasted so much free agent capital, so much draft capital to make this a team that's capable of running the ball. Yet every time we face a competent defense, Gingy, Najee Harris is nowhere to be seen. I take that back. The Steelers were driving, maybe trying to get some momentum and get back into the game, and Najee just doesn't watch the pitch and fumbles it. If I have not said this 1,000 times, the pitch to Najee Harris is the worst play in this playbook. Stop doing it. Let me say it 1,001. Maybe someone will listen. Stop pitching the ball to Najee, Gingy.
Didn't work that time. Didn't work all game.
Didn't work all damn year. I take that back. It worked once against the Browns, I think.
It must have been the one play he was paying attention to where the ball was coming to him. Because if you watch that play, he clearly wasn't looking for the ball.
On a pitch play, you need a running back that can process things fast, Gingy. You need a running back that can see the hole and see the ball. Dude, not Najee Harris.
It's not working out so far. That we needed him more in that game, and he was not there.
I don't know what to say about this offense, Gingy. I mean, I'll get to the coaching, and I'll talk about the coaching between the offense and the defense. But, man, George Pickens deserves every bit of kudos, and he deserves every dollar because the Steelers' offense is inept without him. I mean, Calvin Austin got yards just because someone had to get some when the Eagles were in prevent, and he did beat them deep once. Unfortunately, Rustin hit it with a perfect ball, just a good ball, which leads to a big gain. But in a team like the Steelers, I'm not trying to be mean here. You can't afford Russell Wilson to be just good. If we're going to beat a good team, he has to be great or even amazing, right? We saw it there. A slight underthrow of the ball leads to the Steelers not scoring touchdowns. I mean, you have to be perfect if you want to be competitive as the Pittsburgh Steelers, it feels, especially without George Pickens there. You have to be perfect if we want to be competitive against a good team, Gingy.
Offense has to be more disciplined, can't give away stupid penalties, can't make stupid mistakes. We're going to have to gear up again for another week without Pickens.
Yeah, and I know it was a stupid penalty, but dude, watching Darnell Washington block was a Darius Slay into the freaking bleachers was
and Slay did throw.
It made me chuckle.
Should have been offset.
Here, there, whatever, dude. You don't want to get called for a penalty. Don't do something stupid. You know how refs handle things. I'm not here to get in the ref's face. You're gonna put yourself in that situation. You're going to be in that situation. And honestly, I think it's really stupid when there's a penalty that starts it and then 2 retaliatory penalties and they all offset. At the end of the day, I feel the Steelers did 2 personal fouls. The Eagles did 1 personal foul. We kind of deserve what we got. I mean, end of the day, it is what it is. Do I think that made a difference in the game? Hell frickin' no. I'm going to tell you that.
No.
I watched that game.
Yeah, it didn't make any difference.
No.
I watched that game, and you're going to struggle to tell me that the Steelers were better than the Eagles in any facet other than special teams. Defensively, the Eagles did whatever the hell they wanted. Yeah, we were stacking 8 in the box, so the Eagles were throwing for 10 yards a pass. I mean, it is what it is. But offensively, Gingy, I don't even know what to say here. How would you sum up what you saw happen out there from the Steelers? I mean, what was it? Just utter silence. I agree. It was a funeral procession.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know what to say about that donkey. It's we didn't get anything going in the run game. For that matter, we didn't get anything going in the run game. Nothing consistency. Anything there was consistency. There was turnovers, fumble minority. There was penalties. Everything was disjointed. No wonder we didn't win.
Fair. Laskers.
Mine is, did the offense even come to play last week? Because I don't think they did. I'm pretty certain
they were all chilling.
I'm pretty certain they forgot to get off the bus.
Nah, dude, they're just chilling on the sideline with George Pickens, all right? That's where it was. They knew where their mouth was. They knew where their mouth was, and they followed their mouth, all right? Now, I want to get into coaching before we get into defense here. Okay, you're Mike Tomlin. You're down 2 scores. It's 4th and 7 from about midfield, right? There's 10 minutes left in the game. You need to score twice. Your offense hasn't been explosive. You know your drives are going to be at least 4-minute drives to score. That means if you force Philly to a 3-and-out and get an onside kick, you have a chance to do what you need to do. This dude, even when he's losing, Gingy, he plays to not lose football games. I don't think Mike Tomlin knows how to play to win a football game, Gingy. And I think coaching is going to kill this team in a playoff game against a good team because you have to be aggressive. You have to try to win. Those 4th and 7s, you got to be able to have faith that your team's going to do it. But, Gingy, I think that coaching decision right there, even before what happened next, which we'll talk about here in a second, I think that coaching decision right there lost the game before we even get late in the 4th quarter.
Losing that game on slow starts and not being opportunistic donkey. Lots of different ways to debate about how we lost that game. Wasn't good on offense or defense. Easy to see. The Eagles are a Class A team over in the NFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they put on one of their best performances against us that showed in every stat line possible. And the Steelers are supposed to be a competitive team in the AFC. You can't really let a team dominate you like that, even if they are a good class team. But Laskers, when is Mike Tomlin going to get the guts to do the calls that need to happen for his team to have a chance to win?
Donkey, I got one answer for you. The standard is the standard.
Yep. Winning regular season football games is all that matters in Pittsburgh since 2010. I agree with you there. Standard is the standard. Winning regular season football games. Don't care about being competitive in the playoffs. I hear you.
Just make the playoffs. After that, it doesn't fucking matter.
Hey, as Rooney said, anytime we win more games than we lose is a good season. So we'll go ahead and we'll keep going with what Rooney likes to say. Gingy, I want to talk about the defense here. I want to talk about the highest paid defense in the league. You're supposed to be able to rely on them. Mike Tomlin down 2 scores with 10 minutes to go in the game. Punts because this defense is what the team is built around. Hell, they had forced 1 turnover to that point in the game. They had only allowed 27 points to that point of the game. And then this defense does the most embarrassing thing I have ever seen done to the Pittsburgh Steelers defense in my life, Gingy. 21 plays, 10 and a half minutes, and the game's over.
Yeah, I mean, Donkey, that's that we needed to see. We needed to see something more there.
Lasker.
Defense is built. I mean, I don't know what to say, Donkey. That defense is supposed to be premier. It didn't have any answers for the Eagles offense.
Laskers, have you ever seen anything as demoralizing for a team as what the heck happened to the Steelers there? I mean, hell, Philly even had a 10-yard penalty in there that made him have to go an extra 10 yards, and it didn't matter, dude. I think we could have.
Yeah, it was a joke.
First and 40, they probably would have converted. That I don't know what to say, man. Where are the stars on this team? I mean, TJ Watt did his thing, right? I think he got a sack, and I know he had that forced fumble. TJ Watt did his thing, but we're supposed to have stars on every level. I mean, we have a top 5 paid linebacker in Patrick Queen. We have a top 5 paid safety in Minkah Fitzpatrick. We have a first-round draft pick, although technically second, but a top 32 draft pick at corner. We have another corner who's paid top 30 in the NFL. I know Deshaun Elliott wasn't playing. I know Larry Ogunjobi wasn't there. But those are just little side pieces to the amount of money we spend. We have a top 10 paid defensive lineman in Cam Hayward who's playing great. Why the heck? How? Let me rephrase. How the heck does a 21-play drive happen against a unit that's supposed to be as talented as this? Is that coaching? Is it effort? Is it the players aren't as good as we think? Is it just a bad day? Which one are you leaning to here, Laskers?
I'm going to say the defensive line is good, and you got to throw Highsmith and Watt in the defensive line.
The
front seven
defenders.
Yeah, front.
I won't say front seven because I hate Patrick Queen. That dude.
And the rest of the defense is just awful. What I saw on coverage, it's disgusting.
Coverage.
Yeah, there was no coverage. Because Watt had 2 sacks and Highsmith had 1. I mean,
Gingy,
you really can't complain about that.
No. Gingy, we went into this game with a lot of people saying Philadelphia can't throw the football. I guess the Steelers forgot the memo.
Jalen Hurts showed him up on that, didn't he? Had a heck of a day against our secondary. I think that they were just really outmatched.
Did you see the stupid ass fine that Jalen Hurts got, dude? He got fined because his one shoe was like their alternate uniform green, and his other shoe was the uniform they wore green. So the NFL fined him.
That's fucking dumb.
Right, dude, you can't wear different color shoes. Like, no fun league for sure.
Well, maybe one shoe was more comfortable than the other.
All I have to say, dude, is Jalen Hurts gets fined for that. Minkah Fitzpatrick is trying to injure people, taking out their kneecaps, and the dude walks away without as much as any kind of disciplinary action. It tells you where the NFL's priorities really lie, doesn't it? I guarantee you, if Minkah Fitzpatrick did that to a quarterback, he would have got suspended, just like Al Jazeed did for Houston.
They played right into Philly's game, really. Whatever Philly wanted to do, they played right into it. There was no tempo or pace on the Steelers' end. They weren't executing anything they wanted to do.
Hey,
Philly
Mike
was
Tomlin,
executing everything they wanted
Mike
to do.
Tomlin told me they did. They went into that game and did what they wanted. They slowed down Saquon Barkley.
No, they did do that.
Well, if that's what they wanted to do, they slowed him down. He's
Yeah,
a
they
little bit
kneecapped
slower.
him. That's for sure.
A little bit slower after that.
Literally slowed him down. He's taking full
yeah.
course. Laskers.
Yeah. That's it. That's it.
Laskers. There's one last thing I want to talk about here, and something my coach said in between before I get done with this Philly rant. Because, man, like I said, they have to win 2 or 3. That's still a possibility. So I'm not going to completely drown this game. But everyone who's been talking problems and pointing things out and getting told you're crazy, this team's great, it's showcased in this game. But the problem I have here is the ho-hum humdrum the Steelers coaches seem to put off after a game like this. Like, nah, dude, it's just business as usual. That game doesn't matter. Specifically, Arthur Smith was asked a question in this week's press conference about his running game being highly inefficient. They rank 30th in the league in yards per carry. I mean, yeah, we look okay when you look at overall rushing numbers because we run it a hell of a lot. But we are so highly inefficient in it. And Arthur Smith says, oh, I don't really care about that. That doesn't faze me. What the hell, dude? Do these coaches just not get it? Or is there something that we're all missing here? Like, shouldn't the coaches be the ones who are concerned? And I know maybe you don't want to say it to the media, blah, 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 blah. But I've seen enough NFL coaches who put it out there that, nah, that's not good enough. We need to do better. It feels like the Steelers coaches are accepting of what it is and don't really care. And they always put off that attitude. And we can say, well, that's not the case. But it's almost a decade running now where it really does seem that that's the case, that, hey, yeah, you guys look okay, but this is really a problem. Nah, it's not a problem until it loses us a playoff game, and then they don't have to answer any questions because it's season over. Laskers, why
Donkey.
the hell does this keep happening?
Donkey. You know the answer. The standard is the standard. That's the Steelers' motto. I mean, I don't really need to explain it anymore. I mean, we've been doing it for 10 plus years. Since Bettis left, the standard is the standard. We
Since
haven't
Tomlin
had
took over, that's been the damn line.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Which ironically was right when Bettis left, so fair point, Laskers.
We haven't had a good running game since. Okay, yeah, we had Bell. Who
Lev Bell was the best running back in the league for 3 years.
He put up yards, but
he did it efficiently.
And
that's the difference.
The question I have for you is, do you think he listened to the coaches, or do you think he did his own shit?
I think he listened to the coaching, and the reason I'm going to say that here is I know Todd Haley's not the most loved person, but Todd Haley did run effective offenses through the NFL. He schemed things well. He did things well.
I actually have no problem with Todd Haley.
I yelled about the Arthur Smith hire from the day it happened because when you look at what his offense has done without Derrick Henry, the dude's mediocre. And he had a guy like Bijan Robinson, who is a stud at running back. What makes you think he's going to be able to take Najee Harris and turn Najee Harris from an inefficient runner into an efficient runner? And Gingy, that's arguably our biggest problem right now is Najee is so highly inefficient, and we focus so hard on being a running team and focus more on Najee than Jaylen Warren, who has that explosiveness, maybe to our own detriment here. Being a team that just wants that highly inefficient number that at the end of the day you look and you say, look, Najee ran for 75 yards on 25 carries. Gingy, The hell can this not phase an offensive coordinator that he runs the ball almost more than any other team and is the least efficient at doing it? How can he say that?
I don't know. We need some better. I blame this on Najee. I think that he can do better. I think I see Warren, and I see Warren having more sparks than Najee at this point.
I hear you, but curiosity here. What do you mean by you think he can do better? Like, do you think there's a better running back in there than he shows? Or, like, I just want to know what you meant by this, because he's always, I hear you, Laskers, but he's never been that type of running back, even in college. The Steelers knew what they were getting, and they chose to waste a first-round draft pick on it.
I don't disagree with you on that statement either.
Like I said, I don't think that Najee's lack of productivity is not due to any physical stature or nature as a running back. It's execution, it's vision, it's consistency.
I'm gonna push just a little bit on this, Gingy, because I'm really curious. Do you think, and this is where I personally think his biggest problem is, do you think he has a fast enough burst to get to the line in the NFL in the time that's required? Because to me, that's where the biggest problem for Najee is he's just a step slower than even the average speed running back.
Like, he gets his hips forward, goes
time
forward.
to the line of scrimmage,
yeah, he does.
His time to the line of scrimmage, on average, is slower than Gus Edwards. And I would argue Gus Edwards, who, by the way, is a big physical one-cut runner, I'd argue Gus Edwards doesn't have NFL speed. He's slower than that guy to the line of scrimmage. I'm not sure that we can say it's not a physical thing that keeps Najee back.
Can I chime in, Gingy?
Go for it.
So I think Najee's biggest problem is he overthinks. He's looking for the hole, so he hesitates before he tries to explode. I really think that's his problem. If he just ran as soon as he got the ball, I think he could be, a league average to the hole. But I think he hesitates. I think he's looked too hard before he decides what to do.
I'm going to say exactly what I said the day we drafted Najee. He's a guy who wants to be Lev Bell. The problem is he's post-injury Lev Bell. He just doesn't have that speed. He doesn't have that explosiveness. He's shown it way too many times. And I don't blame him for the problems he has. I blame personally the Steelers. And hear me out on this. You should never run a toss play to a slow running back. It just doesn't work. You should never run the outside counter with a slow running back. It doesn't work. Najee has 50% of his runs this year as outside zone counters or toss plays. I think the Steelers are screwing him up. I think he should be getting those HB bashes, those HB slams, those off guard A-B gap runs. But here's the funny thing. In percentage of carries, Jaylen Warren gets more carries between the tackles in percent of carries than Najee Harris. Or between the guards, not between the tackles. Between the guards than Najee Harris. I really feel like the Steelers are misusing their running backs and trying to outthink people and trying to be the smartest guy in the room, Laskers.
Well, I was going to say, you would probably know the stat better than me, but the 50%, dumb stuff, I think that's been his whole career.
To be fair, Matt Canada never ran a freaking toss play. That was never part of Matt Canada's playbook, so he didn't run very many of the toss plays.
Okay, so
Matt
maybe
Canada
sweep.
did a lot more zone counters, which are considered inside the tackle runs. But they're
so slow.
Plays where you're supposed to stop and redirect your speed, yes. Very much a lot of those is what he did. Yeah. No doubt about that. Gingy, do you think maybe a change up of philosophy here gets the Steelers back on the right track?
I don't know. I think a change-up. We need to see some personnel come back. You know what I'm talking
The
about.
only person's George frickin' Pickens. I guess you could argue Deshaun Elliott, but
Justin
KZ
Fields.
actually was probably the best player in the secondary last week, so I don't know how much of an upgrade that's going to be. Unless we bench Minka. You're not saying
Deshaun.
that, are you?
Deshaun Elliott's probably been the best defensive player on that team all year.
First 8
consistently.
weeks, he was amazing. He struggled the last 4, and then, of course, was out with an injury. So
Well,
Here
he
we
might
are.
have been hurt.
Deshaun Elliott's always been one of those guys who he's a good player. He fits well. Just like Donta Jackson, right? He's going to be those guys. He's a streaky player. Has been that his whole career. That's why he never got a big contract anywhere. He goes off. He'll give you a month of great play, a month of average play, a couple games of subpar play. But he's a starter quality player, and losing him definitely hurts. But I will say KZ was probably, in my opinion, the best second half Steeler in terms of play last week. And, of course, I don't think that's saying much because did any of them show up at all is a real question.
No.
Didn't look like it.
But so you think personnel getting healthy is what's going to turn this thing around for Pittsburgh, Gingy?
I do. I mean, honestly, that offense is different with George Pickens than with not, right? 40 points, shootout versus Bengals. What? What?
Okay, we're going to stop you there. Let's compare to a team that's not the worst defense in the decade.
Right.
So pick a different game. I'm cool with you saying that, and you can point out other games that they have been a lot more effective. No doubt about it. But we're going to disallow using the Bengals as the marking point.
I don't think I'm going to talk the same way that you do about this team based on the fact that we had opportunities and didn't take advantage of them. It's not like the opportunities weren't there. All right, if this was a desolate, bleak, dark tunnel, you know what I'm saying, right? It wasn't all that. There were splash plays. Boom. I saw them.
There was
Steelers
a couple turnovers.
jumping on footballs. Yeah, exactly.
I hear
no
you on that, but
no momentum, no consistency, and not being able to stay on the field for anything. 3 and outs.
I hear you on that, Gingy. I hear you on that.
That's
but
why
Steelers,
I don't think that the Steelers are as bad to the core. There might be a rotten layer there out front. I'm hoping so, right?
Remember, the Steelers are
opponent.
one of the worst first quarter teams in football, which is a big showcase of how well you game plan, prep, and what you do.
It can't happen.
And when we're going to talk about the Steelers here, Gingy, and I think it's a fun conversation to have, and I think it's one that's really worth having, right, is I hear you that George Pickens is a huge, huge, huge part of everything they do. I mean, their offense at this point is chuck it and pray to God he makes a miracle catch, right? That's become what the offense mainly is. But I'm looking at this team as a team that needs to change at its core what it does. I know we're 11th in the NFL in points, but when you break that down, we're 18th in yards, 25th in passing yards, and 10th in rushing yards, but we're the 30th efficiency rushing team in there. A lot of this has to do with the way the defense gives us extra possessions. We're able to add extra yards. That's why I'm wondering here, does a change of, philosophy benefit this team to where maybe they get to be an efficient running team and do that before they run into a juggernaut in the playoffs where we have to try to play the shootout when we're not prepared? Because, I mean, look at the scores we've put up this year, and we'll just go since Russ got back. And what game was Russ back? The Giants game?
That sounds right.
I can't remember.
All right, so the Giants game, we score 26 points. Next week in Washington, we score 28. Baltimore, we score 18. Cleveland, we score 19. Cincy, we had that 44 out. 27 points against Cleveland, and then 13 against Philly. I mean, you look at this team, there's a lot of games in here where just the points weren't there. We went through, a stretch where we scored, 3 straight 30-point games or close to it. But when you look at let's just look at the playoff caliber teams we played here. The Denver Broncos, 13 points. Even if you want to say the Atlanta Falcons, 18 points. LA Chargers, 20 points. The Washington Commanders were 28 points. Baltimore Ravens, 18 points. Philadelphia Eagles, 13 points. Gingy, my point here isn't that this team can't score points and we can't see it. My question is, can this team get to the point where they score points against playoff teams?
We absolutely could have.
Outside of Washington is something we have not seen. And remember, in that Commanders game, they were missing 2 of their top 3 cornerbacks, their top running back, 3 offensive linemen, and we fully did exactly what you need to do, which is take advantage of it.
We had the opportunities in the red zone and didn't come up with points. That's what I'm saying, Donkey. I think it's a flip of a coin one way or another. That's not an all winner and all lose.
Oh, hold the phone. Didn't we only have 1 red zone opportunity where we didn't score a touchdown?
We're still on their side of the field. Yeah, I think so.
But it's not a red zone opportunity. It's not like we were in scoring position because that 1 field goal was after a turnover and we moved the ball like 10 yards. We started in the red zone, moved to 10 yards. The other one where we started on their field, I don't think we even got a first down. I mean, let's look at the drives here. We started with a 3-play -5. Oh no, wait, that's the half. We started with a 3-play 3-yard punt, a 3-play 2-yard punt, a 7-play 28-yard field goal, a 3-play -5-yard punt, an 11-play 70-yard touchdown, a 5-play 14-yard field goal, a 4-play 44-yard fumble, the one drive where maybe we were getting back into it at the third quarter, and then our only other drive was a 7-play 24-yard punt. Gingy, I know we want to say it, but outside of the fumble, and that fumble happened around midfield, slightly inside Philly territory, there just really wasn't opportunities. The offense never put itself in a spot to score points because they never really moved the ball.
It's true. Yeah, never got any rhythm, never effectively moved the ball. I don't disagree with you there.
And that's been the case in almost every game where we played playoff teams outside of Washington, where the yuck it, chuck it to George Pickens was on full display and looked mighty, mighty fine. I will give you that. Maybe George Pickens coming back, the yuck it, chuck it will work this week against Baltimore. You guys ready to transition?
Absolutely.
Let's get talking Ravens then. All-time record, the Steelers are 36-25. At Baltimore, 15-13. And, well, you know, we have a nice streak there, though. The biggest win was the Steelers by 37 points in 97, 37-0. Baltimore's biggest win was 28 points in 2011, 36-7. The longest streak is Pittsburgh at 5 at 01-03 and 97-99. Maybe we tie that this year. And Baltimore's longest streak was 4. That was from 15-16. The current streak is the Steelers at 4, winning last meeting a couple weeks ago, 18-16. Is that right? And Justin Tucker deserves every game ball because he's the one who lost that game. Is this going to be another Chris Boswell, Justin Tucker type of game, Laskers?
I think it probably is. And also,
That
just so you know,
benefits us.
Russ's first game was against the Jets.
Oh, so he started the first of those 30-point wins. All right, fair enough.
No, actually, the second, because Fields had 32 against the Raiders.
Right. I meant out of the back-to-back 30-pointers on the New York teams. Maybe it wasn't back-to-back 30-pointers on the New York teams. Maybe I'm crazy. Gingy,
it was not.
This is the same team we played before. They're third in the league in offense. They're first in the league in yards, third in passing yards, second in rushing yards, time of possession. They're 12th, slightly worse than the Steelers. Defensively, they're not near as good. They're 22nd, 17th in yards, 31st in passing yards, first in rushing yards, though, third in sacks. That Baltimore team actually has more sacks than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Interceptions, they don't have a lot at 20th. I know there's a lot of people who are going to miss this game, I believe. We're missing Pickens and I believe Deshaun Elliott. No, Donta Jackson got ruled out. I believe they're missing Rashad Bateman. They just cut Space Cadet Deontay Johnson. A lot of injuries going around on these two teams. A lot of players going to miss. Do you think the Ravens dare try to put this ball game in Lamar Jackson's hands again and don't just run Derrick Henry 30 times, Gingy? You think we have a chance there of them being silly again?
Of course we do. I really think that that's what we should expect until we're proven otherwise.
Do you expect that the Pittsburgh Steelers will win another game because Justin Tucker can't make a field goal? Because let's be honest here, Justin Tucker makes the same kicks Boswell makes. Baltimore wins the first game. So do you think Justin Tucker is going to have another choke artist game, let's say?
Really tough to bet on that, huh? But maybe.
This year it seems not such a bad bet to take.
Yeah,
Laskers.
That's what I'm saying.
Tucker's really struggled. The Steelers can win the division this week. Let's not downplay where we are, what this team has done to this point. This is for the division. We win this, we don't have to worry about losing at Kansas City, losing at the Bengals, because the division's already ours. But if we lose this game, those last two games of the season, one which is 4 days from now, or 5 days from now, 4 days from the game day, this game is arguably, because probably at this point the first seed's out of the picture, maybe even the second seed. So this game is essentially the most important game of the Steelers season because it could give us a chance to really not rush George Pickens back and really just control where we are and start prepping for who we're going to play, right?
Oh, it definitely can. And the way Tucker's been playing this year, I really think this could be another Tucker screw-up game. I think chances are it might snow. I mean, based on what I know,
this is a Tomlin Harbaugh game, dude. You expect it to be something in the teens to something in the teens, right, Gingy?
And you would expect that's how they usually turn out. That's usually how you turn out, where it all comes down to the last possession. Yeah.
Steelers win by a field goal, like always.
Yep, sounds
or
about
at least
right.
Like recent history. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys really want to focus on here? Do you have any talks before we get to cash and trash, or what do you expect here? Do you expect Baltimore to try to play a more physical AFC North brand of football this go around, and a lot more read option, Derrick Henry going down the Steelers? Or do you expect this to stay, Baltimore trying to be this new age, throw the ball all over the place offense?
I think it's going to be a more new age Baltimore trying to throw it all over the place.
Fair. Gingy?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Baltimore trying to throw it all over the place, being somewhat effective possibly. But watch out for them turnovers, per the usual. That's what this game's going to come down to, is who's going to make the big mistake, right?
Fair enough. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know what to think. I'll just go ahead. I'll go into cash or trash. We'll start it right off with the Steelers on offense. Going to Laskers. He's back. Russell Wilson goes for 250 and 2 touchdowns, Laskers. You want to cash or trash that as the Steelers passing offense comes alive without George Pickens this week against a very, very suspect Ravens secondary.
If you didn't say 2 touchdowns, I would have cashed that in. So I'm going to trash that.
Fair enough. Gingy, the running game, as we've pointed out, is the key to the Steelers' win-loss record. Just look, they got under 3 yards of carry. Again, they lost. Najee does everything you told him to do, and he shows that he can maybe be a premier runner against a pretty stout front in Baltimore, all things considered. And maybe he shows Roquan Smith a thing or two this week. Najee, 75 yards, 3.8 yards a carry or more, and a touchdown, Gingy. You want to cash or trash that?
Cash me in. Come on. Key to Steelers' success is the running with Najee.
Fair enough. Laskers, Pat Freiermuth has that game where he outdoes the Ravens combo at tight end. Freiermuth gets 80 yards and a touchdown, cash or trash?
I will actually cash that one in. It's questionable, but I'm going to cash it in.
I like it. Gingy, the Steelers, last time they played the Ravens, the offensive line did a pretty good job of, how do we want to say this, shutting down Baltimore's pretty potent pass rush. I believe they allowed 4 sacks, but 2 of those were pure coverage sacks on Russ. This week they do better. They hold the Ravens to 2 or less sacks, cash or trash.
Oh, that's a tough one. I think I've gone against that in the last couple of weeks when you asked me about how many sacks the offensive line is going to give up. I think they're going to give up more than a couple this week, too. Trash at Donkey. What'd you say, under 2? 2 or under?
2 or under. 2 or under.
Trash.
Laskers, let's end the offensive cash or trash here. Going to you, and we're going to talk about wide receivers. Finally, someone in this group has a breakout game, and by that, I mean they have more than 75 receiving yards. I don't care who it is. You can have every receiver, no tight ends, no running backs. Cash or trash, one of the wide receivers goes over 75 yards.
Trash.
No believe in my prediction of the Calvin Austin 80-yard touchdown, eh? All right, fair enough. Gingy, go ahead. Give us your take on what happens when the Steelers are on offense at Baltimore.
Steelers find a better tune this week on the ground. Going to have Najee. The average Donkey is actually going to be inflated a little bit. I see Najee breaking one this week. 30 plus, right? That's where that touch is going to come from. So, yeah. Other than that, I see. I'd really like to see Pat Freiermuth really step up in terms of being a consistent wide receiver-esque, quote unquote, if that's what he's going to be, right? As you said, slightly above average pass catcher.
He don't
if that's what he's going to be.
He don't block like Darnell.
Well, yeah, that's a debatable good or bad thing too. So
yeah, anytime you block someone into the bleachers, it's a good thing. I don't care about the penalty.
I hear you.
Set the mood, baby.
No, that's what I'd like to see from the offense this week.
Laskers, what you looking for when we're on offense?
I'm looking for us to score some points that aren't through Boswell. I mean, I love me some Boswell, but we need some points that aren't from him.
All right, Laskers is going to absolutely hate my take here. I'm going to give you guys 2 major points. You can choose to cash it or trash it. I think the Steelers, once again, struggle offensively to get yards. I think the Steelers are held under 300 yards of total offense, and I believe all 5 scores come from the foot of Chris Boswell. You guys can cash it, trash it, split it, whatever you want. Gingy, what you think?
Trash it. No, thank
Laskers.
You. Don't see it that way, Donkey.
I'm actually cashing that one in.
I knew it. I knew he'd love the 5 from Boswell.
I'm just going to say, I don't want Boswell to score that many points, but I just see that's going to happen.
Boswell would have scored every point this year against the Baltimore Ravens if that does happen. Just putting it out there, because remember, he kicked 6 field goals last time we played them. All right, let's turn the coin over. Let's go defense. Let's start Gingy. Gingy, TJ Watt has shown up, but it hasn't been enough. However, he's going to continue to show up. TJ Watt is going to see himself with either 2+ sacks or 1 sack and a forced fumble. Cash or trash?
Cash it in. You know I love that, Donkey. That's what I like to hear.
Laskers, Patrick Queen showed up last time in a revenge game. I'm still saying this is an emotional dude, and I still think he's going to show up this week as well. I think Patrick Queen leads the Steelers in tackles, and just like I predicted last time we played Baltimore, he forces a turnover. Cash or trash?
I'm going to cash that one in.
Let's keep it going. Gingy, Donta Jackson not playing. Big hurt to the secondary. Joey Porter Jr. has struggled. Last time we played them, Lamar completed less than 50% of his passes. We're going to be nice here. We're going to up that number The Steelers hold Lamar Jackson to completing less than 60% of his passes and force at least one interception. Cash or trash?
Cash. Cash it in.
Laskers. Derrick Henry is still a beast, dude. That man is a monster. We held him to 65 yards last time, albeit he did have a touchdown. He did average 5 yards a carry. We once again hold King Henry under 80 yards a carry and to 1 or fewer touchdowns, cash or trash. I think I said 80 yards a carry. I meant 80 yards in the game.
You did, but I knew what you meant. So I'm cashing.
I didn't cash. Oh, man, you guys are going to predict a division win. It sounded like here. Gingy, obligatory ask. Minkah Fitzpatrick gets a turnover? Question mark. Cash or trash? Another question mark.
We're gonna have to continue to talk about this question week after week. Donkey's stressing me out, man.
Till he does something.
Cash. Yes. We're gonna see it.
I will say, Gingy, at least your prediction of cash or trash does not seem to affect Minkah Fitzpatrick in any way, shape, or form. You can take that as a positive or not.
Doesn't seem to, does it? Nah, I'm not sure. I believe in him quite a bit, I think, and he don't do it all the time.
Laskers, give me a final take here of what you're looking for when the Steelers play defense. In this, we've went this long without calling it, so I'm going to start it. In this snot knocker, double chin strap, buckle up. What are you looking for when the Steelers are on defense?
I'm looking for some turnovers because I think that's the only chance the Steelers have.
Splash.
If we don't have, I'm going to say 2 turnovers, and I'm not saying just defense. It could be special teams. If we don't have 2 turnovers, if we don't have 2 turnovers, I just don't see us winning this game.
Gingy, defense. What you want to see?
You know what I want to see, Donkey. Splash plays, big turnovers. Yep, a little bit of bend but don't break. How about some special teams in there too? Can we count them in on it as well?
Recently, I'd say absolutely.
So,
like I said, I'm not allowed to yell at Big Bubblegum Chewer this year, so I'm really upset. I don't know who to yell at.
So yeah, looking for the defense overall to be able to hold Lamar Jackson, shut down King Henry. I mean, shut down. What was yours, cash or trash? I wish I had that one. The Laskers one with 80 yards.
80 yards and 1 touchdown or fewer.
Probably would have trashed that. But if it's right at that line, that is a shutdown for that guy. So I'd be okay with that.
I'm going to be honest here. That secondary's been a little beat up. I think Lamar getting a nice, easy game in New York is going to help him for this. I think them getting rid of the head case that is Deontay Johnson away from being a distraction is going to help them here. I think Bateman being out is going to help them because I think they're going to go double tight ends. And I just really feel like the Ravens aren't going to outthink it this time. They're going to focus on Derrick Henry. I think you're going to see him run the ball 60% of the time. So these are the 2 points I'm going to make. 60% of the time, the Ravens are going to run for over 4.5 yards per carry. And Lamar Jackson's going to complete 60+% of his passes and not throw an interception. Laskers, you want to cash, trash, half that?
I'm going to cash that one in.
Gingy?
Probably half it. Lamar will have the points, but he's going to have a turnover. He's going to throw a silly one.
I hear you on that. Let's get into picks. Look, you guys have any closing thoughts on this game? Or you think we covered it pretty good? Because it's Steelers Ravens. It's going to be something.
Classic snot knocker.
All right, then let's get to picks. We have Cincinnati. Is it going to Cleveland or Cleveland going to Cincinnati? Shucks. Give me 1 second. We'll make sure we get the right home team here so that no one feels like they got gypped.
Cleveland going to Cincinnati.
Cleveland going to Cincy. Laskers, Yeah, Faith and Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
I don't know
He's
what
starting
team
for the
on.
Cleveland. He's starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns this week.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm going Bengals.
Obviously not. He doesn't even know his name. Kid from UCLA, if you're curious. So Lasker's got the Bengals. Gingy.
Give me the Bengals.
Yeah. It's the. Is it fair to say that Cleveland teams quit? I mean, we are even hearing Myles Garrett might now want out. That's
white flag material.
Yeah, just a little bit. And then we got the game that matters. Steelers, Ravens. Now, I know it doesn't determine the division necessarily, but for the Steelers, this is for the division. Laskers. Who'd you got? What's the score? Where's the X factor?
Man, I haven't even thought about my X factor, but give me the Steelers 20 to 15.
Ooh, 20 points. We're getting out of the teens.
I think I got to go Boswell X factor again.
Laskers cashed my idea of all points being scored by Boswell at 5 field goals, and then puts the Steelers at a point total where they have to
where it doesn't make sense.
They have to score a touchdown at this. No, they don't. They could get a safety. Okay, cool. Gingy, same question.
Give me the Steelers 22-19. X Factor Pat Freiermuth. Come on, baby. This one will wrap it up.
I'd like to see that. I think without George Pickens, the Steelers offense just cannot get it done. To be fair, I didn't think they were going to get it done anyway. I'm sticking with my preseason picks all year. I picked the Steelers to lose this one. I still think they lose this one. I think it's 24-15. And the X factor for me, it's going to be Derrick Henry, man. They're going to use Derrick Henry, and he's going to be the king for a week. And the worst part about that is, dude, do we really want to see Derrick Henry run the ball 30 times against us when we have to play in 4 days? Like, that's the scary part for me.
Really.
Is I think, and hear me out on this, I think Jim Harbaugh knows he needs the Steelers to lose more games. I think Jim Harbaugh, or is it John? Shoot. Harbaugh in Baltimore. John, the Harbaugh in Baltimore is gonna, well, either way, they both like to run ball, is gonna try to beat the Steelers down to where they're beat up for when they have to play Kansas City on the short week. I think he's gonna think too far advanced, way overthink things, but I think it's gonna work out this time because I think Lamar's gonna, I don't know, finally throw the monkey off his back. And by me saying this, I hope I reverse jinx the hell out of this stuff. But who knows? Let's get to shout-outs. Gingy, it was a loss. Do I have to ask or should I go to Laskers?
Just keep it moving.
Laskers!
I got nothing either. I mean,
Laskers has to say, I give a shout-out to Chris Boswell for making the most field goals in a single season in Pittsburgh Steelers history.
Well, that's a good one, but but I'll do that at the end of the season when he still has more field goals than ever.
All right. Well, you heard the first part of my shout-out. The second part of my shout-out is, well, I know this wasn't always a measured stat. T.J. Watt is also a Pittsburgh Steelers franchise record holder now in forced fumbles. I know it sucks to see records set in losses, but it's still fun to watch records get set. I personally enjoy it. So I'm going to give a double shout-out this week because, well, the cohorts here are... Man, I thought I was the negative Nancy about the damn way the Eagles game went, and then you two here at the end are like, I'm peeing all over the parade.
No, got nothing to say about none of that. No.
Yeah, that game sucked.
Where's the productivity happiness that is going to lead to the fruition of success in the cherry that is picked, which is winning the division this week? Come on. I mean, you heard my take earlier.
The elation will be back when we win the division. Yes.
All right. Hopefully y'all will hear us again before Christmas. We got to work out the logistics of that. Crazy things are going on. Christmas game, early week. Gingy Laskers here this week. I appreciate it so much. I'll let you know.
Hello.
Fucking donkey. Viking_Donkey on Twitch, Twitter, your Daily Dose Donkey. Ginger is a fun YouTube channel where you get all this content. Keep tuning in. Keep telling us what you like. Let me know if you want to hear some shorts of the crazy rants, because, well, that's fun. I'll also try to get shorts if we ever get Gingy to take a hardline stance on something. You best believe that's going all over the internet, and everybody's going to love it. Laskers, let them know.
I'm the Laskers everywhere. If you can't find me, well, that's too bad for you because you can't spell my name. Gingy to you.
Mutant Gingy in the house. We hanging out. We talking football. Holy smokes. Is anybody feeling the fatigue yet? Back to back to back. Big games. Big teams. Big Steelers. Snot knocker this week for the AFC North, baby. Wave them if you got them. Here we go, Steelers.